Olá, namastê. Espero que você esteja bem. Já estou falando aqui enquanto o pessoal vai chegando, avisando que essa live vai ser em inglês, certo? Vou deixar aqui já fixado nos comentários. Como que faz mesmo para deixar fixado? Fixar. Pronto. Muito bom. Olá, tudo bem? Fernanda, é isso? Bom dia. Então, esperando aqui a galera entrar. E lembrando que a gente vai então. Oi, Rê, bom dia. Ah, Fer, muito bom. Bom dia. E aí, hoje a gente vai conversar em inglês, se tudo bem, né? Porque a gente, eu e a Sejal, a gente tem que falar inglês mesmo. Oi, amiga, tudo bem? Jimena, que bom. Olá, bom dia a todo mundo, bem-vindos. Hey, Sejal! So now we start to speak in English, and after all this, I will save the live, and then I will post on my YouTube page with the subtitles, okay? Com as legendas. So let's start. So just to begin with, I invited Sejal to talk about self-knowledge and about her journey in yoga. She's a Ashtanga Yoga Authorized Teacher level 1 in the KPJ Institute in Mysore, and she suffered a very hard accident last year with a motorcycle while she was in Mysore, and we will talk about this accident and how it transformed her life and how she became authorized yoga teacher after that. So welcome, my friend. So happy to have you here. Just, hey!
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good.
Oh, you are so beautiful.
You too.
You see? Ah,
From India.
yes. So good. I'm happy to see you
Yeah.
live. So cool. So let's start. First of
Yeah.
all, I would like to ask you, and I think some people from Brazil also are a little bit curious about how is the situation in India and how are you dealing with it and your family, if everything is okay with you?
Yeah. So it's been quite a challenge in India because India has way too many people and we don't have kind of the best infrastructure. But with all these challenges and everything, I think everybody's doing their best. People are coping up. They're staying home. They're trying not to get out. Everybody's busy with work and trying to keep their mind busy and things like that. Everybody's without maids because usually we're so used to having a lot of house help, but we don't have anybody now because they're not allowed to come into our buildings and things like that. So everybody's at home and trying to do their best. We all are actually, and I think we will come out of this soon as a country.
We hope so because we want to go visit you
Yeah,
personally very, really soon.
yes,
Everybody wants to get better.
a few more months, and I think it'll get a little better, and everything will be back to normal, hopefully.
Yes, yes. We have to do our best all the day, every day, all the time.
Absolutely.
Yes. So for us to begin with our talking, so first of all, can you like tell your story with the yoga in your life? How was it? How you
Yeah.
started knowing yoga and practicing, how it entered your life?
Yeah, sure. So I'll begin with a little bit of my story. So basically, I come from a very, very offbeat family and very interesting parents. As a child, I remember when I was in school, I never had the pressure of getting good grades and to top in class and all those things because parents never told me that you have to be a topper and things like that. Of course, I did end up being a topper in school, but it was never out of pressure. The only thing that my dad always asked me after I came back home from school was, did you have fun today? So, those are the kind of questions I was asked as a child, and it was really interesting, he always also encouraged me and, to live the life that I want and to choose the life that I want. To imagine what kind of, a world I want to, create for myself. So at the age of 14, when I was in the ninth grade, I dropped out of school and I decided to explore life my way. Of course, it was a hard decision, but I think it was by far the best decision ever. I trained myself in a lot of, I did a lot of fitness trainings, I did certificate courses, I did a lot of training in Latin and ballroom dance because I love dancing. I traveled a lot across India, learned a little about rural development, about like water conservation, about natural living, natural farming, and, things like that. And met a lot of people from different walks of life, who, like me, chose to live an alternative life. The idea was to just kind of meet people and, see how things are. And eventually, of course, I did complete my graduation. I did my post-graduation also in management, and this was through distance learning. But somewhere when I was doing all this, I realized that, there was something missing in life. Like there was that spiritual, angle was missing in my life. And I'd always heard about yoga. I always knew that yoga is something that, helps you to get in touch with yourself. And, it's more of an inward journey. So I said, okay, wow, I think I should be, I should explore this. It sounds pretty interesting. So that's when Mysore happened to me. And I think rest is history.
And how does Mysore happen? Like, how do you know about Mysore and you say like, oh, I'm going to Mysore? Because India, you have so many different schools and so many different gurus and everything. So
Yeah.
how come Mysore came and you knew about it?
So I would talk to a lot of people around, talk to a lot of yoga teachers, yoga practitioners that, okay, what is the place, which is the best place to go and I read a lot. I would like do a lot of research, because I was very used to doing research. Every time I wanted to do something, the only thing I would do is research and then figure out that, okay, this is what, I need to do. So I would, do a lot of research, and since I Googled a lot and spoke to a lot of people and realized that, okay, Mysore is the place where, serious yoga happens. That's where traditional yoga happens. And Ashtanga yoga was something I've always seen, and I'd done few classes here and there. So, I had experienced Ashtanga yoga before. And since I knew that the source of Ashtanga yoga was Mysore, I said, okay, well, I better go to the source and do it,
Mm-hmm.
And being in Mysore was, I think, fabulous because Mysore is now like second home to me. More than Mumbai, I feel like Mysore is my home. So, I have a very, very deep connection with Mysore. I go there every year to deepen my practice as a teacher. And now I feel like Mysore, literally it has become my roots.
You know everything there. It's almost as you live there once a year. You know everywhere where is the best place to eat, where is the best place to buy food and everything. It's so
Just
nice.
and everything.
And the first time you went, you was practicing with Saraswati, no?
Yes. I was practicing with Saraswati ji, and it was a mind-blowing experience. And I was like, wow, I have to spend more time here, And then I kept coming back, and that's how now I practice with Sharath ji, and I go to Mysore every year, and it's something that draws me. That place literally it calls me. I'm like, okay, Mysore is something that keeps drawing me towards it.
And then how it happened? So you went the first year with Saraswati, and then the second year you went with Sharath ji, and then you had the accident, or was after that your third season?
No, so this was my third trip. I think it was my third trip with Sharath ji. I was there for my 2-month study trip in Mysore, and so this was February and March. So February was the month where I felt like my practice was amazing and it was going to the next level. I started catching in my back bends, so I was very excited. And But I think life had completely different plans for me, because when all this was happening and when my practice was at the peak, 4th March was Mahashivratri, and it was basically a friend of mine, Isabel, and me were riding together, to go to the temple. We wanted to visit the temple on Mahashivratri. And while we were on our way to the temple, we got hit by a high-speed car. And this driver was intoxicated. And, the car hit both of us, and it hit my left leg, and I almost flew and fell down. I was completely unconscious. I mean, I have no memory of the accident. Of course, I was told that I was bleeding all over. I was completely bruised. I had multiple fractures, and thank God that I was wearing a helmet, because that helmet saved my head from, getting injured. Though I had a lot of stitches on my head and my ear and all of that a little later. But yeah, I was completely unconscious, and another friend of ours was following us, Chris, and he immediately called for an ambulance because he saw this whole thing happening. Like, he actually saw us flying and things like that. And I was taken to the nearest hospital, where they did a CT scan just to make sure that I don't have a head injury, because I was unconscious. Thankfully, it was not a head injury, and I was moved to another hospital. So while all this was happening, I was, I started to kind of wake up a little bit. My consciousness was coming back a little bit. And when I opened my eyes on and off, I could see my friends around. I could see a few of them, and I was just like, it all felt like a bad dream. I was just like, is this even real? I knew I was in pain, but I didn't know what was going on. Everything was very, very vague, very confused. Like, I couldn't understand what's happening to me. All I knew was that I was in pain, and I'm seeing these known faces in front of me, and I'm like, what's just happening? And eventually I woke up and to believe that it was all real. I was hit, and, things like that. So, of course, my family was immediately informed about this whole accident, and they flew to Mysore the next day. And a surgery was lined up where they had to insert a titanium rod in my left leg, which I still have in my leg right now, and 4 metal screws to fix the tibia bone, which was, which had multiple fractures. So the surgery was, of course, a 3-hour long surgery, and I was really scared, and I was just like, I just didn't want the surgery to happen, but I mean, I had to go through all of that, and it was all successful. It was okay. And of course, my friends told me later that, it was a miracle that you survived. And I was like, wow, like, okay, it was so intense. I didn't even know that it was so intense.
And how was your internal experience emotionally with all these? Like, how are you feeling? Like, when you are coming back, it's like everything is like blur. You don't know what's happening. You have to, but after, when you get conscious again, how are you feeling? Are you feeling fear? Were you feeling relieved, or everything the same, or what's happening inside of you?
Oh, I was so scared. I was like, there was a lot of fear inside me, because I'm just like, I don't know what's happened to me. Am I going to be able to stand? Am I even alive? Like, I didn't even know if I was alive, or like, it still felt like a dream on and off. There was so much of pain in my body, like every part, every cell in my body was hurting, So there was so much of this agony, this fear, this anxiety inside me. And I was so helpless, because I didn't know like what to do. And I'm like, how am I going to even cope with this? And luckily, friends and family were around. So I was like, that kind of like support helped me to carry on. And, I would everybody would bring some cakes and pancakes and flowers and books and all those things for me to cheer me up, because I was in so much pain. Like, literally, while I was on the bed, even if I had to like move a little bit, I had to ask somebody to lift my leg to, even like move from right to left. I was completely bedridden, right? Like, I couldn't stand at all. So it was quite difficult, and, it was not easy to cope with that feeling, of helplessness, when, like, you can't do anything now. It's happened.
Yeah, and how can you say it changed the way you live your life, or the way you see your life after and before? How it changed the way you see life?
Yeah, so I mean, things were very different. I didn't know all this was going to happen, and things like that. But then, of course, I had to move on. I had to, carry on with life, and keep myself cheered up and all those things. So, you know, I mean, the whole focus was to recover faster. The whole idea was to just recover faster and, get back to my mat, because I was like, I really need to get back to my practice. I'm so looking forward to going back to Mysore. I was in Mysore and I'm looking forward to, practice in the shala. But I mean, the whole idea was to just recover. So I would see, like, there was a physiotherapist who would come every day to make sure that I'm exercising. He would give me some strengthening exercises for my leg. And the moment I would see him, I would like cry. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to see this guy because he's going to only bring pain into my leg. Of course, it was for my good, but I didn't want to see him. Like, I would cry, cry, and cry. But eventually, I remember the first step that I took, when I got off my bed to, do my physio exercises. That first step that I took was like, wow, like I can walk again, there is scope. I'm not going to be like that for the rest of my life. So it felt nice. It felt like there was some hope. And even Sharathji came to meet me in the hospital, and it was really motivating and nice because it was nice to have that kind of support system, with family, friends, and everybody. And yeah, I mean, I was almost in the hospital for 15 days, like 15 days of the hospital, and post which I was in Mysore for another 15 to 20 days because was not in a position to come back to Mumbai. Being on a wheelchair, it was impossible for me to move around. And, with all that pain, I had to make sure that I'm, not traveling from one city to another.
And it's not so close.
It's definitely. So it was quite a ride to, travel back. But yeah, eventually I was with a walker and I started to walk a little bit, and that felt nice that, okay, wow, like of course I was limping and I was with the support of the walker, but it felt really nice to be able to, come back to normal life again, rather than just being on the bed all the time. And yeah, I mean, post the walker, I was also using a stick for another 2 months. I started to use a walking stick. And I actually traveled to Portugal with that stick within 4 months of my accident. So I was really excited that, okay, wow, like, this is going to be fun. Of course, it wasn't easy, I would say, because for me to like decide to travel with that leg was like, I don't know if I should take it up. But then I was like, no, I'll go. I think it'll be fine. And yeah, it was great.
I like the way you see things are more clearly, you are not lost in this thoughts and about, oh, what's like, drowning in the suffering. You are looking forward, like, what can I do to get better? So let's do it, even if it's painful, but I know it's for my best. And it's like, let's move, let's go. And even if you're a little bit afraid, like, oh, should I travel or should I, I have a stick and all? No, but I want to go and I think it will help. I like this way of looking everything like much more positive, and also not only thinking but doing, because it's important also to act, no?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there was so much pain, but I was like, stopping is not an option for me. I have to continue, you know?
Yes, and all around this, so you stay in bed for 15 days, then we wheelchair how long?
Wheelchair, so 20 to 25 days, I think I was bedridden, where I had to, I mean, if I had to move out of that bed, it was with the wheelchair. It was impossible to stand up.
And after you had this helping with the two,
The walker.
the walker, how long also?
That was like 2 to 3 months I was walking with the walker. Yeah,
Okay.
it was literally like hopping on one leg, and it felt so strange, but it also felt nice, to just be walking around, I wanted to like, run, and I was like, okay, when am I going to be able to run? I used to ask my doctors actually that, can I get back? Can I do a headstand? Was my question. Follow up, and he's like, no, you cannot.
You're crazy.
Because I
But
was
in
like,
this,
my arm is not injured, so I can do a headstand. He's like,
yes.
no.
And how was you getting back to practice? When it happened and how was it?
So after I came back from Portugal, this was, I think, Portugal was 4 months after the accident. And then after about 6 months, I heard about Sharathji coming to Mumbai. And I was like, oh, wow, I don't think I'm going to be able to attend this workshop, because he was coming to teach a workshop for like the first time in Mumbai. I was really looking forward to this workshop, but I knew my body will not be able to even travel from my home to that place. Like, I don't think I should be doing this. But I really wanted to go. So I said, okay, let me go, but I enrolled for it, but I did not practice. I just went and sat down. I said, I have to be around, even if I'm just around people practicing, I will feel nice. So I decided to go, and I was sitting on a chair while everybody else was practicing, and it was just nice to be there. It was nice. That was the first time I, kind of like was getting back to that whole practice, environment. Post that, I again heard about him teaching in Mysore for 4 months. And this is when I was like, I don't think my body is ready for it, but my heart really wants to go. Like, I really, really want to go. So I just followed my gut, and I was like, let me just go by my gut, and I'm going to go. I will see how it goes. And I decided to go to Mysore for another 2 months. This was, after about like 9 months of the accident. And I flew to Mysore, and it was lovely, great to be back in the shala, just to be present there and to, slowly kind of come back to normal life. It was feeling nice, you know. And the practice, of course, like, also I missed one part, that when I was at home, I would, a lot of times I would experiment with the practice. I would sit on the bed and I would try to do asanas, I would try to do Surya Namaskar, I would try to do the standing posture sitting in my bed. So, just like doing Trikonasana and, Padangushta, like just forward bending or things like that. And of course, there was a lot of pain that I was experiencing, but I kept experimenting and I kept modifying whatever I could in bed. This was in the initial months. And a lot of times I would also, try to get onto the mat and try to do just simple Surya Namaskar A and B. But of course, my rod would really, that whole area would really cause a lot of pain and discomfort. So I would keep trying. Every day I would try to get onto my mat, and it wouldn't happen. Again, I would try, again, it wouldn't happen. So I kept going. And I kept doing some form of practice, like modified, simple asanas, whatever I could. I felt that just that breathing could help me to, get the whole, breath moving and the whole prana moving. So and then of course the Mysore thing happened, and once I was in Mysore, then I started to do a modified practice. I had to use a wall in the shala because I couldn't balance on one leg. I mean, for me to just balance on my left leg, which was my injured leg, was impossible. Like, I couldn't stand on one leg, so I had to use a wall to do a lot of modifications. But I loved it. I mean, it was a great feeling to get back slowly to the whole primary series of Ashtanga, and it felt very healing. I actually started to feel like my body is coming back. My recovery is getting better, and the healing is happening really well. So I was getting better, and by the end of the 2 months, I definitely felt more stronger. I felt more confident with my body, and I was like, okay, wow, now I feel normal.
Yes. And then you got authorized. How was it for you?
Oh, I think it was just magical, because I did not expect it at all. I mean, when Sharathji told me that, okay, you're getting authorized, and I was like this, again, this felt like another dream, but this time a good one.
Yeah.
And I literally had tears, because I was like, this was not expected at all. But I was really happy, and it felt really nice, because finally something nice was happening after so many months. After all that pain, and after all these like months of only pain, like something nice happened. So I was like, okay, it felt really nice.
It worthwhile because you were like doing day by day. Because when you are suffering, it seems like the time is never passing.
Yes. totally. It's so slow. The time never passes when there's like suffering. No, it's like it goes really, really slow.
And after all this, when you go back to Mysore and everything, it seems like it's so, I don't know, everything is, when you tell the story, it seems like it was, oh, just 1 year. It was not so much, but it's 1 year that seems like 10 years, no?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
And how, also you were teaching yoga, no? Like while you were injured and everything, when you came back to Mumbai, you were teaching. How was it?
Oh, it was, I think it was very difficult because for me to, this was when I was with the walker. So for me to be able to even, move out of the house and, to travel to that place, because I was just doing like working with a small group of people. And it was quite a task because I would have to sit I would have to sit and, just talk about the asanas, but I could never even stand in the studio. I had to actually sit and demonstrate. So it was like, okay, wow, this is challenging. This is something I've never done before. So it was not an easy task, but I believe that, that's something that kept me growing. It also taught me a new, aspect of teaching. And at that time, I wasn't teaching Ashtanga. So, I mean, it was easier to teach a simpler form like Hatha Yoga. But yeah, I mean, it taught me a whole new dimension of teaching, I would say.
Like you have to develop more the way you explain with details and everything. Like now we have to teach online now. You also teaching online, no?
Yes. Yeah,
And
totally. Like
we have to talk. There's no other way.
talking. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And how is this experience for you of teaching online now? How are
Uh,
you like feeling about it? And now you are teaching Ashtanga, no? Only
yes.
Ashtanga?
Yes, just Ashtanga, primary season. It's really nice. I mean, again, it's a bit different because I think we're so used to teaching in a studio and being present there physically. To be able to adjust somebody, like if somebody's doing something wrong, like you only have to say that, oh, do this, move your shoulder back, or uh, straighten your arms or things like that. And also, it's a bit different because in online, like to be able to concentrate on everybody with that one screen, like they all it's very different, but I think it's great because when it's online, like even for teachers, I think it's wonderful because you can be in whichever part of the world you are and you can teach online. You don't really need to be in one place. And for students as well, I think it's nice because you cut down on so much of your travel time. There's no travel time, so you can work more, you have more time with family and things like that. So I think online is what everybody is getting used to, and I'm also getting used to it now, and I love it now. Like I really feel like I want to do online for the next few years.
Yes,
Just
even when the virus is over, it's finished. I think it's a
yes,
good idea, no?
yes, totally.
And talking about teaching, how it came for you, because you are a practitioner and then you started going to Mysore and practicing Ashtanga, but at the same time you were teaching Hatha Yoga or Vinyasa, no? How
Hmm.
does it happen when you decided to start teaching yoga?
So I mean, because I was already teaching, while all this was going on, like while I was injured, and of course I wasn't teaching immediately, but only when I came back and after like 2 to 3 months when I felt I was ready and I was teaching. Uh, but one second, I think I lost the question. So what?
Ah, I asked what, when, and how was it you decided to become a yoga teacher in the
Oh
beginning?
yeah, yeah. Sorry, I completely lost that. I never wanted to become a teacher. When I went to Mysore first time, I actually went for my personal practice. I went there because I wanted to do Ashtanga, and I felt like it's really a lot of fun, and I do want to get exposed to the whole series and things like that. But I never thought I would be a teacher in any field, not only yoga, but I never thought I would ever be a teacher. But when I started practicing and, the whole practice, I got immersed in the whole practice and I started enjoying it so much. And then I realized that, also for me to grow, I think the best way is to teach, So that's how I had that thought that, okay, I one day want to teach Ashtanga. And yeah, eventually it all worked out well. The authorization happened and, I'm teaching Ashtanga now and I love it.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And what about your leg now? How are you feeling in this moment? How is your practice? What's their like? What's the plans? I remember the last time we saw each other. We went to the doctor to see you have to make another operation. So how
Yes, yes.
is it?
So I have an operation lined up for next year where they're going to get the rod out. But right now, like I feel really good. I have like absolutely no pain. I can walk normally. There's no limping happening. For all those months that I was limping, finally now I'm walking without any kind of limp, and I'm able to do my whole practice. In fact, I'm also practicing intermediate series. So I'm really happy that I've been able to do that with the rod in my leg.
Yes.
It's not about doing too many asanas, but it just feels nice that, okay, you can progress, you can go a little ahead in the practice. That's not like an obstruction for me anymore. I don't even think about it. I'm like, okay, well, my leg has a rod, but it doesn't bother me. It's fine. It's inside because it needs to be there. And I think the practice eventually has helped me to, strengthen my leg, because with all the asanas that we do in the primary series, I think it's it's like therapeutic, no?
It's
Because
yeah.
yoga chikitsa is what the primary series is. So, and I literally I am experiencing it, because that's all I do for my leg now. Like there's no physiotherapy. My practice is my physiotherapy. And I do it
Yeah, and
every
it's
single day.
it's yes, and I think it's good for people to know, like, what would you say to people who say, "Oh, I have to be strong to practice Tonga. Oh, I have to be thin. Oh, I have to be flexible before going to practice." What would you say to these people?
Oh, I think if I can practice with this leg, like you can practice. I mean, you don't need to be flexible. You don't need to be like, already strong. Like the practice is going to eventually make you strong and flexible. So I think for the listeners, like there is no thing of like I need to be flexible before I begin to practice. You are going to get there one day if you practice every day, or if you do a little bit. Like it doesn't have to be 1 hour, 1.5 hour. It could be 15 minutes for somebody. It could be like 20 minutes. Depends on how your schedule is. But the idea is to just hit the mat every day and stay consistent with the practice, and forget about these things that I am not strong, I'm not flexible. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because it's not a performance. You're there for yourself, so do whatever you can. And if you feel good, I mean, the idea is to feel good. If you enjoy doing your practice, do it. If you don't do it. It's simple as that.
And there's another question that came to my mind. Someone asked me this week, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, do I have to know like all the first series to go to Mysore? I have to be pro to go to Mysore?" Someone asked me this question. What do you think about it?
No, I think it's even if you just like know, like you don't really need to know how to do the full asana, but you just need to be aware of the like primary series, at least some part of it, because I think to go to Mysore, like they have this thing where you need to be practiced under any authorized teacher before. So the reason they do that is so that once you go there, you're not a complete beginner. Like even if you know some part of the practice, like maybe you may not be able to do the asana fully, but you know that, okay, this is how it's done. It's okay. It's fine. Like I think it's okay.
You don't have to be afraid about going to Mysore, because me too, before going, I was thinking, oh, I have to be so good to go there. And when I went, I saw that it's nothing like this. It's much
Yeah,
more
I think
okay and open.
yeah, we've
Yeah.
all gone through the feeling of like when you go the first time and then you see like everybody doing like all handstands and headstands and back bends, and you get kind of like intimidated with looking at all of that, and then you feel, oh my God, like I need to be good to be able to be here. But that's not true. I mean, people come with different levels. Everyone comes, with their own practice. So it's I think it doesn't have to be. There's no. Mysore is not like it's not police.
You know, I was thinking about this now. Like we have this thing on. We like to compare ourselves to other people. No, we are
Yeah.
all the time comparing. Oh, this person is better than me, or whatever. And how was for you? Because you were practicing in the first batch with Sharath
Yeah.
Ji this time. And like the first batch is like all the people who goes every year. So you have the pro practitioners doing third series, second series, and all of that. And you are in the first month, you are restarting first series with the wall and so and so. And how was it for you? How you were like in your mind dealing with this thing about comparing, or no, I'm not going to look to the others? How was it for you?
So I would say for me, the fact that I could just be present in the shala was the best thing that could happen to me. So I did not even like bother about what's going on around. I wouldn't look at anybody around me. I only focused on my practice. And as you said that, since I had to start my practice from zero, like I had to literally modify the simplest of asanas that I could do before. So my whole focus was, my practice, and my focus was that I don't want to fall. Like I couldn't afford to fall down because I was still in pain, and my leg was not ready for another fall. So I think just the fact that I was there was something I was happy about, and I kept going, and modifying the practice. At times, yes, it feels a bit different because everybody else is doing the whole practice, and you're like modifying simple things, but it's also fun because now I've learned so many modifications as a practitioner because I've gone through that whole phase. So I know what to modify, and it's nice. I mean, modifications are always beneficial, no? Because only when you get injured, you actually learn to modify. Otherwise, as a practitioner, we never learn to modify our practice. We always want to do like the whole practice, the way it is. But I think it was just such a great feeling to just be present there. Like
It
the
changes
first day
everything, you know.
I was like, wow, like I'm here, like I'm back to this place. The last time I was here was for, when I was in the hospital, and now I'm back practicing. So it was just, I think it was a relief to be back practicing.
I think it's a very big lesson for all of us, because I think in some kinds of levels, different levels for different people, we have to come back to zero in practice. Some people have injuries, some people have like problems in their life. They have to stop practicing, or even accidents, or women get pregnant, and like
Yeah.
when you have a little baby, it's more like it's not the same practice. So I think in one time in the life we have to go back to zero, and it's nice to be a beginner, as you told. No, it's always nice to go back and relearn things.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I mean, the way I, looked at the practice, and the way I could explore the same practice that I did before, the way I could explore it again was amazing, because there were so many like little things that I figured out, even in simple Surya Namaskars, like I was like, okay, wow, like, this is something new. That's only because I had to start from scratch again. Otherwise, it would never happen. I would only focus on going forward, forward, forward. But I got so
Yeah,
much time to work on those simple things, and I still
and
work on
it's
it. I still keep working on those things. The idea is to just stay with the practice, and to just go deeper into each aspect of the practice, and it's wonderful.
and I like what you say. Like, when the first thing is that the practice is your practice, you don't have to worry about what the others are doing, and that when you
Yeah,
go to practice, you are not looking to what other people are doing. You are
yeah. Drish,
like only drishti, yes. So this is a very big lesson, because even though we talk about this and we say this a lot about, when you practice yoga, it's like a meditation. You have to be focused on yourself. I think it's also like normal for us to drift away and start comparing and looking. And it's a good lesson to make this exercise with the mind. It's not the body exercise, it's the mind exercise. And it's not easy to keep the mind straight, no?
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, I had to break a leg to understand this, you know.
Yes. We always learning, no? I will,
Yeah.
we have like another 20 minutes. I will open the session, the commentary session. If anyone wants to comment something or make any questions for you, feel free. If you have any, I don't know, if you wanted to make any considerations or talk about your own experience, personal experiences, we have some time to talk about it. And what do you have anything like you want to talk that I was not questioning or something like this? I have a lot of questions yet, but if you have something to say.
I mean, I just want to say that, I just want to tell the listeners that, challenges will come, but don't give up, fight it out and, you will come out stronger out of it. And for me personally, like I've started valuing life much more after this accident, I appreciate life more. So, all I'm saying is that just things will come, but we don't have to give up. We fight it out and everything falls in place, that's my personal experience. I feel like this is what the accident has taught me personally.
There we have a question. What role did your family and friends play in your recovery?
Oh, I think it was a very major role that they played because, it's very important to have the right kind of, ecosystem, right kind of like, having family and friends around was something that helped me to cope with this whole time, just to have them around, mental support, also having them physically present there because I had people fly from like different parts of the world come to see me. And, it felt really nice because you feel like you're not alone, you have a family, like friends also are like, they were like family, right? So I think the role that they played was something I wouldn't have been able to cope with this without the support of all of them, like friends, family, Sharathji, everybody. I think it was very important to have that kind of support system. And I'm lucky to have it, I'm very, very lucky that I have that kind of support system.
It's like, why should I recover? Like, why should I do all this strength? Okay, then, okay, we will help you because it's not easy, no? Even though you
Yes.
have a positive mind and everything, there are some days you are, oh my God, what's happening? I want to stop all of this. It's so painful and everything. Did it happen to you in some level?
Can you come back with that? Sorry, I missed you
Like
for a
if it's
moment.
in some times during all this process, you feel like, I don't want to do all this strength. I don't want to cope. I want to, I'm tired, you know.
Yeah, I was feeling that. I was really sick and tired, and I would lose hope, on and off. But something kept me going, something inside me was like, no, I'm not going to give up. This is not something that's going to put me down. I'm going to come out stronger as a person, I don't know if it's made me better as a person, but yes, it's definitely made me value life more, So, definitely, there were times, I wouldn't say I was always, all positive. And there were times when I went through, especially the initial few months when, I was going through all that pain. I would definitely, have to do a lot of self-talking and, would have to tell myself that, this is the time to, fight back and, things like that. And I think I was able to do that, and I'm here today, back healthy and back to the normal me. So I think it was worth it to have put in all that effort,
And so we have another question here. Do you think you recovered faster and better because of yoga?
Oh, yes. I think yoga was something due to which I, was physically, I could strengthen my body, and of course, even mentally, because only with the practice I was actually able. I feel like today, because the reason I'm able to walk around and probably even run a bit is
Uh-huh.
because of my practice. I mean, I would have recovered for sure, but with the practice, my recovery was much faster. Like, even my doctors were surprised whenever I would go to meet them for a follow up. They were like, "What are you doing? Like, how are you recovering so fast?" And I would tell them that, look, I mean, of course, I'm doing my practice, and I'm eating, of course, eating well as well. So I think the practice has really played a very, very major role in my recovery. And
And
I
so
feel like,
that's one other question I would like you to like talk about your eating habits, because I know you are vegan since
yes.
a while, no?
Almost 6 years, yeah. I mean, pretty much. Like, I try to stay vegan. Of course, sometimes if I visit a friend and if they've cooked something which is like not vegan, and if they've cooked it with love, I do eat it. It's not like I don't. But yes, most of the times I try staying vegan. Like, that's my staple food. More of like raw food, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. I try to consume all of that. I do eat all the crap also, but I try to compensate by, keeping my body, like, the whole idea is to keep my body as alkaline as possible,
Okay.
to reduce, the acidic foods and keep it more alkaline. And I think that's also played, I would like to share that it's played a major role in my recovery as well. Eating right, because, my diet has made me recover faster than, the recovery could have been.
Why do you think it like food is so important in
Yeah.
this recovery?
I feel like the body's in a shock, and it's trying to fix something. And I mean, if the digestive system or the overall body doesn't have too much of load on it to digest heavy foods or things like that, it's going to obviously put all the energy in recovery. But imagine
Mm.
if I had to, like, put a lot of load on my system by eating heavy foods. A lot of my body's energy would go in digesting those, and my recovery process would be much more slower. So I tried to keep my body light, and so that my body could draw all the energy to my leg, because my whole idea was to make my left leg stronger. And I think it worked.
Yes, it's the very nice combination. Moving your body with the consciousness, of course, as we
Yeah.
talk, like with the sharp mind. It's important not only body and mind separate, but together to cope with each other, because this
Yeah.
positivity come from the moving out the body with the awareness, no?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Also, I missed a point that I would also walk in the swimming pool at times, like in the last like the seventh or eighth month. Like, I started to walk in the swimming pool as well, because it was nice to walk in water, and to also strengthen the leg with the support of this water therapy. And I think it worked really well. It wasn't easy, because to be able to, like, not slip around in and around the pool, like, it's a bit of a task. But I mean, it was really helpful. Like, I would like to share that it also helped me to get that limp out of my body, and to be able to walk straight, because
Mm.
for the longest time I was walking with that limp, and I was like, I can't be walking like that forever. I need to be walking straight. So yeah.
Yes, because you don't have the gravity, so it's easier with the water in the beginning. It's very, and also I think it's very healing. Water is very healing, no?
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly. Yeah. So that it was really nice as well.
and I think like if you have any questions, we have still 10 minutes. If anyone who is here wants to ask something to Sejal, please feel comfortable. And thank you everybody for being here with us and all your loving kindness you are sharing. It's so nice. I'm feeling very happy in this moment. And just another like while anyone and nobody asks, I would like to talk about this moment we are passing in, like in the story of humanity, because your example serves to motivate us. Because while you have this injury and hospital and fear of death and all these things, and so I think there are some things we can put in our lives now, because in a different level, of course, we are always talking about that. We think about that much more than normal, you know, and we are afraid of getting sick or having some people in your family getting sick or something like this. And so it's very important, first thing, to have people around, you know, like to keep in touch with people who we love. It's one thing that helped you a lot. So I think it's also like a tip for us to remind us about that. Using technology in our favor to be with people we love.
Like that, using favor.
Yeah, like we are doing now. And also, how do you think practicing yoga can help us to pass through this difficult moment in our like human life?
I think it's nice because, you know, it's nice to get that little time out for yourself each day, you know, like it's more about connecting to yourself, and more than the like doing asanas, it's about just connecting to yourself. Because I think the whole day there's so much going on. We have so many responsibilities, you know, so some people have kids and, you know, family to take care of and stuff like that. So I think we're constantly, there's so much to do that, you know, we actually need that little time out for ourselves, you know, to be able to cope with this time. Because the important thing is that we need to be healthy, we need to be, you know, calm, we need to be at peace, so that we have better relationships as well, you know. Like I feel like we do yoga not only for ourselves but for the people around us, because if you do yoga, you're actually a better person, you know. So I feel it's something I mean, people should be doing some form of, you know, practice, for whether it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or 1 hour, whatever it is, you know, just to get onto that mat and just feeling the body and just doing few movements, getting the whole breath moving. I think it's really wonderful. And you know it because we know it, because we practice Ashtanga, and we understand that whole, you know, the whole benefit of the practice. We know how much it's, you know, it's added value in our lives, which is why we continue to practice, no?
Now it makes more sense, like when you have these difficult times, because what happened also, I see some people, when you have difficult times, like, oh, I have a problem, no, 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 then I stop it to practice. And I always like to say, now is the time you have to practice.
Even more.
When you have difficult times, then you see how it works, the practice, no? Not only when you are happy and healthy and everything is good in your life.
Yes, exactly. And that's when you need it the most.
It's true.
Yes. Right. How is it in Brazil though? How are things there, and how is it?
We have not only like the virus problem, but also political. So Brazil is kind of crazy now. And I think we will pass through a lot of, it will take a while to get better. I think so. If someone who is here have another opinion, please share. But in my opinion, we will have to have a lot of patience, because we have some people fighting against this like lockdown and everything. So some people, oh, we have to open, and some people say we have to close, and so it's like all this fight, and we open and close again, open and close again. So the numbers are increasing.
Yeah.
So we are like, if you can stay home, stay home.
Yes.
That's what we say all the time.
Right. Yeah.
And if you have to stay home, it's difficult. It's not easy. I know. It's not like, oh yes, it's so good. It's not, everybody's crazy to go out now. It's been so long.
Yeah, true. But I also feel like this time is never going to come back. You know, this life has thrown an opportunity at us to, utilize this time. I mean, we've always complained about having time, no? We've always said that there's no time, but now there's so much time. So, it's nice to utilize it in the best way.
It's true.
Use of
And
it.
yeah, I think everybody should take your, like, this example of difficult times, because when you, like, also you have the accident, you have to stay home. You have no choice. You have to stay in bed. Imagine 25 days in bed. And so I
Yeah.
think there are some people in that situation.
Yeah.
And even though it's like, okay, I will find where I can find my strength. And so we give you here, I think it's nice, this sharing, to give everybody some tools, some tips that work it. It's not that we think it works, but we know it works because it worked for you.
Right.
So
Yes.
like, I would resume it in move your body, as much as you can and the way you can. And second, stay close to the people you love. And third, take care of your food, whatever you put inside of your body, no? Would you say something more about it?
No, I think this is a good conclusion. I mean, like the three things that you mentioned, it's a good summary to the whole thing, That's what I would tell the listeners. That's all you need to do. It's not that difficult.
It's true. It's every day a little bit, remember, and it will get like lighter to live, no?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's just gonna be easier and more simpler.
Yeah. So if I think this is like, I would like to thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I know it's not so easy
Thank you.
to share some traumatic experience. Is not easy, but you share with with the laughing, with a very light energy. And I think it's very important to people to know
Yeah.
that we practice yoga, but it doesn't mean our life is perfect. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
we don't have problems, but it does mean that yoga is a tool to go through everything that we pass, like all the people that has difficult sadness, fears, and
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah,
thank you so
totally.
much for opening your heart for us.
Nervous because I've always been interviewing people, but this is the first time that I'm talking, so I was a bit like nervous. Thank you so much, Juliana. It was really nice to talk to you, and it was very nice to have the listeners here with us today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste, and keep
Namaste.
safe.
You
And so
too.
this video will be saved in my IGTV and also in yours. So sooner or later you will also upload in your Instagram, so people can rewatch and also share and watch from the beginning. Because if you are just arriving now, I tell you, watch from the beginning because it's a very inspiring story. Thank you so much. Have
Thank
a
you
nice
so much.
weekend.
Bye. Bye.